2007. A simpler time. The world wasn't heading straight for global damnation, Apple had just unleashed its plan for global domination, Manchester United were actually good, and a young bloke from Stevenage called Lewis kept making a Spaniard very angry. It was against this backdrop that a woman named Trudy walked into a Surrey copy and printing shop, documents clutched in her hands.
Hello customer, I'm Will and welcome back to Formula Printing 1.
For God's sake, I haven't got time for this. I need these pages copying as quick as possible.
Right, okay. What's the name, please?
Cochran. Truly Cochran. Say, what's all that stuff behind you?
What, this stuff? Yeah, I'm a proud member of the Tifosi. I mean, I've even got a bottle of the engine oil from the F2004 back here somewhere. I can't imagine having to have that come in handy again in the future, right? What?
Nothing at all. Just copy these damn things, okay?
Yeah, okay. Honestly, the amount of Karens we having today. Oh my God. Surely not. I've got to call Jean.
Although he didn't know it at the time, young Will was about to start the most expensive, controversial, and scandalous chain of events Formula 1 has ever known. As with any good spy story, it all begins with Monaco and some mysterious white powder. While setting their car up for the upcoming Grand Prix, Ferrari mechanics noticed a whole bunch of white powder in the fuel tank of their car. Unsurprisingly, this wouldn't be the last time that Ferrari messed around with anything fuel related on their car, but because this actually worked in their detriment, they started their own internal investigation. Every member of the Ferrari pit crew was searched until the culprit was finally identified. And of all people, it was their chief technical director, Nigel Stepney. Stepney had fallen out with Ferrari after they didn't let him progress his career past the role of technical director. When the team found out he'd spoken to the media about this, the Ferrari mob weren't best pleased. They only let him travel to a select few Grand Prix that season, one of those being of course the Monaco Grand Prix where Stepney did the deed. Now, whilst being caught in Monaco with a mysterious white powder in your pockets isn't necessarily something out of the ordinary, Ferrari still naturally took a very dim view of the situation and dismissed Stepney from his role. However, it was at this time that the call came through from the copy printing shop telling Ferrari that someone had stolen their information. As a result, Ferrari started a legal investigation against Nigel Stepney and a mechanic from the McLaren Formula 1 team in the UK. This mechanic was subsequently revealed by Autosport to be Mike Coughlin, husband of Trudy Coughlin. Sound familiar? Naturally, this landed Stepney, Coughlin and McLaren in a little bit of hot water with the World Motorsport Council. They were dragged in front of a hearing and Coughlin agreed to fully cooperate with any investigation.
If you can't prove anything, you best let us off the hook.
If you say so.
Both he and McLaren were able to prove that this information had not got into the hands of any employee at the team, and thus McLaren were let off with a slap on the wrists, Ferrari were left very angry, and the sport's most controversial moment was nipped in the bud before it could even get going.
But not for long!
This whole situation very much blew over until the weekend of the Hungarian Grand Prix. During qualifying, Fernando Alonso pulled an epic pro-gamer move and deliberately held up Lewis Hamilton in the pit box. This meant that Lewis couldn't complete a timed lap, and Fernando subsequently went on to get pole position by quite some margin in that race. The FIA naturally took a very dim view of this tactic and slapped Fernando with a 5-place grid penalty for the race. However, McLaren team principal Ron Dennis also took a very dim view of the situation, and him and Fernando came to blows. In a heated argument that evening, Fernando threw his toys out of the pram and threatened to go to the FIA with the full story of what happened between McLaren and Ferrari. This really rattled Ron, and so trying to call Fernando's bluff and damage control the situation, he went straight to Max Mosley of the FIA to try and defuse the situation.
Max, I've done nothing wrong. That thing I told you to let us off the hook about. You can't let us off the hook.
Congratulations. You've played yourself.
This apparent big brain move from Ron would end up being a curse. Whilst he seized the initiative from Fernando Alonso, he also caught the attention of Max Mosley, who now knew that something was up. Sensing blood, the FIA reopened their investigation into McLaren and offered the drivers full immunity if they turned over any information they had to share. And oh boy, did Hamilton, Alonso and De La Rosa have some information to share. Specifically, there were 288 texts, 35 phone calls, and
33,000 emails
between the drivers and, of course, Mike Coughlin explicitly mentioning the data from Ferrari. One email from De La Rosa to Fernando Alonso was so explicit it basically declared the whole situation.
All the information from Ferrari is very reliable. It comes from Nigel Stepney, their former technical director.
This gave the FIA all the information they needed. McLaren were about to get hit hard. Very hard. And so it came to pass that the team were handed a fine of
$100 billion.
the largest fine ever given out in Formula 1, and the largest fine ever given out in any sport, full stop. McLaren were also kicked out of the 2007 Constructors' Championship, one which they were intending to win that year. This handed the Constructors' title to Ferrari in a twist of dramatic irony. However, for their cooperation, McLaren drivers Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton got to keep their Drivers' Championship points. The stage looked set for an epic title battle between the two drivers. But then Kimi came along and ruined it all. In December of that year, McLaren released a statement basically admitting to the whole thing, with the individual top brasses ordered to pay fines in excess of €150,000. Nigel Stepney was also sentenced to 20 months in prison for industrial espionage. However, this part of the tale has a rather tragic ending. On the 2nd of May 2014, Nigel Stepney was killed when he was hit by a lorry by the side of the M20 motorway. Although a coroner's inquest couldn't determine an exact cause of death, eyewitness reports suggest that he may have taken his own life. Whilst this video has been a largely humorous and reductive take on the events that happened during the 2007 season, I feel it's important to remember that regardless of whatever the people involved did, they were still human beings who came under massive amounts of pressure and stress because of lapses of judgment that they made. The ramifications of Spygate still rumble on even to this day. Although the landscape of F1 is much different to how it was in 2007, incidents such as the 2020 tracing point and Haas's customer status with Ferrari mean that for 2021 the FIA are finally clarifying what teams can copy and what must be their own work. Will it work? Well, I guess we'll have to see if 20 W11s arrive at the grid in Australia. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video, guys. Once again, big thank you to Beth F1, Elliot F1, TF1 Show, and Will from Formula Podcast 1 for helping me out with this one. You guys absolutely smashed your first voice acting roles, and I can't thank you enough for doing it. Links to all their channels will be in the description down below. Also linked in the description will be videos from Aiden Millward and Cranky Yankee F1. Those videos really helped me out making this video and get me some of the events and the chronology of everything. So if you want a more detailed view of Spygate, then go and check those out as well. I also do just want to quickly say thank you for 100 subscribers. I know we're way past that now, but it's a fantastic milestone. It's the first big one that you hit when you're starting a YouTube channel, and yeah, here's to many more. While you're at it, if you want to subscribe, then do click the button down below. Remember to like the video as well and share it around if anyone is curious to know about Spygate. But with that, guys, I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Cheerio!